Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, I'm once again taking a look at one of your designs that you recommended me on mod.io. But before we go any further, there is a very important announcement to make, because on the 19th of December, this December, Space Engineers 2 is going to be formally unveiled. Now I cannot wait for this game to come out, because it unifies both the large and the small block grids together, so you can build one on top of the other and make some incredibly detailed designs that you can do in base Space Engineers without fiddling around with rotors by using a small-headed rotor on a large block grid and building off that, which usually cause performance issues, especially if you're on a non-dedicated server. But no, that's on the 19th of December, and I do hope you can join in for King's livestream. But for today, what I'm actually going to be looking at is a showcase request that's an updated version of another showcase request that I did some time ago. So this thing sitting right next to me has got a bloody long name, but it's called the TCA-06-B Leo B type tactical combat armor mech, which is this lovely thing sitting right next to me. And of course right next to that is also the TCA-06, the original version I did the showcase on. So as you can see, the creator has made some very minor upgrades to the new version, but those minor upgrades go a hell of a lot further than the base design. So as you see, we've got some steel blocks covering up the front cockpit to give you some extra protection from any kind of shots coming towards you, and the thruster distribution around the new one has also been spread out a lot more to stop a lot of issues from, say, having your left and right thrusters completely blown out by a single good rocket hit. So my character can run right behind it. Here we go. So on the old version, as you can see here, we've got this fantastic design, which I do absolutely love still. We have the reactors and the flat atmospheric thrusters all together. So we've got four left and right, just bundled all together. Then on the newer version, then got this right here. So we've got left and right down here, right next to the reactor, much like the old one. Then the other atmospheric thrusters for your left and right, now all the way on the top here. So they've been completely separated, so if one takes damage, you still got the other ones on top. I like that one, like I said, one good hit in the back here, and you lose them all together. Then of course for power on this thing, as you see on the left hand side, we've got two reactors giving it a nice bit of power, but for this one, we dropped one reactor and instead have a battery, making it much more useful at the start survival mode if you want to use it and such. But actually overall the design is very similar. But yes, at the front here once again we can see we've got autocannon instead of gatling guns, which is much better for shooting targets and using much less ammunition in general. And then down here, our wheel suspension blocks are no longer on their sides, instead they're going straight up, which definitely helps with any kind of lumps and bumps that can happen, such as hitting into a slight rock. That one's got a much more bigger surface area, which can slam straight into it and damage it compared to this one. But anyway, my character can bugger off just a little bit once again. Now come back over to here. In fact, we can delete this one. This is no longer needed. There we go. I now press F10, find its form menu, there it is, so there's both together. And yes, the TCR-06-B Leo B type tactical combat armor mech is 238 small blocks using a couple of the DLC packs. We see up to here compared in block size, it's slightly bigger. We've got a few more blocks on there, and we've got a nice bit of lore right behind it. All the way down the bottom is your specifications and of course the scripts used. And right at the very bottom, if you've got any feedback for the creator, they'll love to hear it. So giving this thing a thumbs up. Move around towards the very front to have a quick look around the outside, to hop in the cockpit, test out, and see how well this one handles. And there is a perfect target nearby. It's going to be completely unfair for this thing to actually find. There is a space power ore handling facility, which will have a few guns on there. I say a few, most likely a rocket launcher. But no, it should do quite well if I keep my distance and ultimately play safely. So for the very front of the TCA-06-B Leo B type tactical combat armor mech, this is what we get. We're right in the very middle, much like the old version, got an industrial cockpit to drive it around. But unlike the old version, they've got these steel blocks right here to just partially cover up to give it a nice bit of protection. To the left and right down, we've got some spotlights to light the darkness. Below the cockpit, we've got a standard atmospheric thruster to help slow this thing down. And all the way up to here, we've got a blue light to help light the darkness as well. We also got two top mount cameras so we get a good view of what's going on over the horizon. And on the very left and right hand side, we've got our arms, once again set up in the exact same fashion, with hinges coming all the way across, down to some more hinges, then onto our guns, which this time is an autocannon, where once again we've got a cargo cannon right below there to feed it with ammunition. Coming down slightly more, we've already talked about the wheel suspensions and how they've been set up. There's how the legs have been set up, so they come all the way across onto a hinge, which has been angled. Then down below here, right below the vehicle, we've got a magnetic place to actually clamp it all the way down with. Move around onto the side, there we go, we've got some flat atmospheric thrusters at the very front there. And around to the very side of this thing, there we go, so we see even more atmospheric thrusters to our left and right. Down over to here, we've got some nice use of our piston caps, just covering up the edges of where our legs are going to be joined onto the main body. And all the way up to here, the side of the gun, there we go. Move around towards the very back of this thing, so like I showed off earlier, we've got a battery to give it a nice bit of power. We've then got four more flat atmospheric thrusters to boost us forwards. Down below here is our flat atmospheric thrusters for our left and right once again, for a reactor right in the middle. Below our battery, we then got a radar dish. This acts as a bit of extra decoration, which is a very novel way of actually using the radar dish. Just an extra bit of decoration which doesn't really stick out. It's a very hidden way we wouldn't normally actually see it. It's not front and center like a lot of radar dishes tend to go for. But it's a nice novel way of hiding it up. Anyway, down below here we see the back of our cockpit, and at the very bottom, magnet plates once again, and of course our rear legs. Moving all the way up and looking down, there we go, see our battery sticking out the back. There's your gyroscope, be able to move it around. In front of the gyroscope, we then got a programmable block, which we'll take a look at in just a moment. That is going to be a script to put the rotors back in their standby position. So when we move the arms around, whether you flail the arms around, we now just come out of it, they'll just go back to how they are right now. Yes, in front of them, or at least on the left and right hand side of them, got some more flat atmospheric thrusters. They come across onto a blaster edge block with our blue light on top. On the side of the main body. There we go. Down underneath is. And there we are, like so. And there we are, so that's a brief look around the outside of the brand new Tactical Combat Armour. It looks bloody fantastic with how it's being all set up. I do like it when people reach out to me and show me upgraded versions of their vehicles, just to see how they have upgraded it. And in this case, as you see from the front armour, how the reactors, how the thrust has been moved around, how battery has been attached on, and of course the gun's been changed out for something more accurate, more ammo efficient. So the overall upgrades on this thing has been very much a worthwhile time in terms of effort and time put into this. Sure, it doesn't really look like too much when you look at the front there. It's only 4 steel blocks in front of the cockpit, but they do make a hell of a difference when you're taking a lot of shots on the front there, because it does buy you enough time to hopefully get away and ultimately repair yourself up and come back to fight another day. Then of course on the back there, having the reactors split up, or at least having one of the reactors moved out, having the thrusters split up, having a battery on the back for additional power, that's all jolly good stuff, especially with the suspensions down here no longer being on their sides, and I've got a much smaller hitbox for any kind of rocks you tend to run into. But for that, I'm going to grab hold of my character, come up into the cockpit, here we go, and now of course we've got all the same controls from the previous vehicle. So of course we can press number 7, there we go, come all the way down to the ground, drop down, plop down onto the magnetic plates, lock ourselves in place, so if we're on the ship, we can no longer wobble around or fall off it. Then of course once we're done, we press number 6 again, pop all the way up, press number 7, and there we go, we're now ready to drive this thing around. We then got number 9 to attach on our wheels, so if for whatever reason our wheels get blown up, we can once again drop down onto the ground, attach on the wheel heads, weld it all up, and once we're ready to go, up we go again, and away we go. So that's a very nice system to have if you do end up losing a wheel. Of course, number 8 is configure atmospheric thrusters all the way around this thing, so we can now turn that off, and we're just going to not go anywhere. There we go, we now turn them on, and there we go. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 is all configure arms on each side, so with the free camera once again, what we want to do is press number 4, there we go, and then we're going to press number 2, back into this, and now we can move this thing around. Ooh, press the wrong button there, I need to have that turned off, and there we go, we now turn this around, we can now actually fire this, lift it up, move it down, and spin it almost 90 degrees from the body, there we go. And of course once I'm done with this, I can now hop out of that. After a short delay, it now goes back to its standby position very, very slowly. And I'll take over the other arm, pressing number 2, free camera once again. In fact, that was the wrong arm, so go come out of this one, press number 1, back into this one, and there we go. Now spin this around and start shooting stuff in the distance. But you can see on the opposite side how the arms spin back into its standby position, which is always bloody good stuff. Means you don't have to worry about the arms being in the wrong position when trying to go through a small gap. Coming out of this, looking down at it, back it goes, and of course down it goes as well. And with that, that's it for all the controls. So all we've got to do now is come into here, find the programmable block, into there it is, and there we are. So we've got our turret controller scripts, which is how the arms can be moving around. So now what I've got to do is actually drive this thing around to see how it handles, and we're going to go over to the space pirate, which should be in that direction, there it is. Then we're going to test out the guns to see how they handle. So moving forwards in the first person view and looking around here, this is what we get, and we are moving at a fairly slow rate. Got to avoid that tree, just in case we do ping around and end up on our sides. Down we come. And all the way up. I did forget that I did have a speed limit mod in this world that removes the speed limit from 100 to 400 meters per second. I was testing something out with custom missiles, which is going to be a video for next week or the week after, depending on when I want to actually release that one. But no, driving around here feels very safe, very sturdy, and should do very well. And because of the way the wheels have been set up, you can just spin this on these spots, which is why I absolutely love these types of vehicles. So you've got an enemy right behind you, now just spin around. There we go, and start blasting straight into them. There is nothing a traditional land vehicle can do against these types of vehicles, because they will have the circle around you. Meanwhile, you can just keep tracing them, like so, and just keep all your guns on them. No need for having traditional turrets. You can have all your manual turrets and start blasting straight into them. But as for that, all I've got to do now is plot myself next to space pirates and actually test out the guns. So here we are once again outside the Space Pirate mining outpost, which is right next to the Earth starting base, which I always come to. I do love this base, being how convenient it is, and because it's on the mountainside, so if you do blow up, it tends to fall down the mountainside, creating a lot of nice explosions. But anyway, there they are, all the way up there. Anyway, out of here, driving all the way up to it, I believe I have set everything up correctly. So into here, finding the guns, I want to have the... Where is it gone? There it is right there, the arm controllers, down to the bottom. Yes, they are targeted weapons first of all, which is jolly good stuff, and they're at their maximum range. So here we go, we're now going to drive all the way up to it. It's most likely going to get shot off instantly, or blown up instantly, but luckily on this station, which I know like the back of my hand, the rocket launcher is on the opposite side. So all we've got to deal with is a gatling gun, and hopefully we will be able to actually take them out. They might outrange me, which is going to be a bit of a problem, because as soon as they start shooting off these arms, that's basically it for this vehicle. But here we come all the way up. Could be a bit wobbly, bit bobbly, but still the vehicle is perfectly balanced and seems to be able to drive up some quite decent speeds. Once again, it's going to look very odd than speedometer, as do have the speed limit mod on the world. But there we go, they are now starting to outrange me, and I might be able to engage with them if I can. There we go. I need to press number 4, but the autocannons have now started to blast straight into them. Now all I've got to do is strafe, and hopefully damage them enough to actually disable the turret. So we come round, like so. You see the arms now turning around. Up we go once again. And in first person view, this is what it's like. So we can see at the very front here, those steel blocks did a fantastic job of actually protecting the cockpit. So if you look at them right there, yes, those 2 steel blocks did a fantastic job of actually stopping unnecessary damage to the cockpit. But it looks like their gun is still shooting into me. We're going to keep going all the way up to them. And hopefully, some point soon, they will disable that turret, and I'll be able to approach in peace. So here we come all the way up. It looks like we have lost one of our autocannons on the side. Spinning this thing around, if I can, is trying to fight me a little bit, which is slightly odd. And there we go. They have disabled the gun on the front there. So I can now approach this thing, but it's acting a little bit strange here. I believe it is trying to go down the mountainside. Here we come all the way up. So now, very carefully. Oh god, this is going quite horribly wrong. I was not expecting it to be that steep. Now we're going to come all the way down once again. Can I realign this thing? I should be able to. There's plenty of gyroscopic controls over this thing. And there we go, I've got myself self-righted. That took a little bit of time because I was on a very odd surface, but I am falling down the mountainside and I am slamming into the mountainside. And I believe that'll be it for this poor little vehicle. But yes, it did a fantastic job, which is straight up assaulting that base. Means I did not have the turrets engaged properly. I had the hinges turned off so it could not aim into the turret. So the station got the upper hand against me. But no, that did a fantastic job at assaulting that base. And there was a perfect showcase of the upgrades the trader did to that. Ensuring it was nice and obtained. In fact, that's the old one, with the block missing on the front. So be link to its picture below, do wish you download and play around yourself, highly recommend you do. I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.